This is a Heritage Hip Hop exclusive. This is a Heritage Hip Hop exclusive.
Peace and blessings, everybody, and welcome back to Off the Record. This is a show where we delve into a particular album only to talk about creativity, the arts, and more. I am your host, Karev of Heritage Hip Hop, and today I have my guest, an MC who's been on the platform before. Introduce yourself to the people one more time.
Yes, sir. It's your boy AceWonda.
And AceWonda has brought to us his brand new album, What a Wonderful World. So before we get into the interview, let me know what's been up, how's life been since the last interview, and just catch us up.
Bro, that's what it all spawned from. I just been continuing on, being the best father and the best man and best husband that I can possibly be. Full-time dad is one thing, but I've just been enjoying seeing my kids grow, man, enjoying life, seeing them progress through school, starting new grades, and really just enjoying creating more music. When I get some time, that's what I'm on to, trying to stay positive and productive.
Positivity and productivity, when put together, brings forth life, brings forth creativity, brings forth excellence. So how has your skill set gone from great to excellent since you've been doing, been more productive with it and so on and so on?
Oh, it's a good question. Great to excellent. What I feel is probably my songwriting ability. I've always been really confident and comfortable in, just spitting rhymes, having a hot 16 or putting together rhyme schemes. So being technical when it comes to writing lyrics, I've been pretty efficient with and, been getting very good feedback from others and listeners. But what I've been diving into is being able to produce different songs from different perspectives and different layers, starting to try to build on to more traditional landscapes of like not just a regular 16 verse and an 8-bar hook, but adding bridges here, a lot more intros and outros. And so I think just trying to tackle different topics and different perspectives to be more well-rounded and diverse type of lyricist. That's what I've felt have probably brought me to a higher level from great to excellent.
I will not lie to you. You have done 2 new things on this project that I never heard from you before. And ladies and gentlemen, delve into that during the interview. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to What a Wonderful World by AceWonda. In the middle of the screen is the album cover. And that's where we're going to start, with the album cover. No, we're not going to start there. What a Wonderful World. MC AceWonda, produced by who?
A producer named Two. And that's his name. So the producer's name is a producer named Two. That's my brother out of Michigan, and super dope, incredible producer. We just happened to link up, online through Instagram and, formed a relationship, and, the rest is history. Here you have it.
That's interesting because let's just go from production standpoint first. This album had a different sound to it. This album seemed like an active, reflective album. Am I correct that you were going for something more lighthearted and something that was more mature than just beats to rhyme over or having a certain beat to tell you what to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you kind of hit it nail on the head. Was it's lighthearted and it's more introspective. And so where I'm at in life, it kind of pivots into the actual the cover, where I'm kind of like just observing and reflecting. The cover itself is kind of me just, looking over a body of water while I was on vacation with the fam, just reflecting, you know what I'm saying, and being appreciative. And that's the mind state that I was in when I was crafting these tracks. I was just at a good space. And I'm thinking, through all the hard times, what a wonderful world. Like, I have my health, I'm breathing, I'm waking up another day, I'm looking at my kids, they're healthy, and so I'm just very appreciative. And that started just to kind of guide me as far as where I was at with my train of thought when I was starting to create these songs.
I like that because when I look at the album cover and the title of the album, I put down some notes. Sunrise or sunset. The water is the beginning of life. Then you have the light, and in the background is the man who is the power of the world. What does that mean to you?
Hmm. Think that's kind of everything all in one. You got the beginning, you got the reflection, the light bounces off the water, that actually right there is a sunset that we're seeing. And I'm the vehicle, I'm the, like you said, God speaks through people. So, it's my word and I'm the vehicle that's kind of driving this guiding light as far as my guiding light for the people to listen to and hear.
I respect that because if you look at what a wonderful world is, it the title means so much at one time. There was a movie, It's a Wonderful World, remember? And then the guy got the meaning of life in the movie. And then when you look at this album, right? To be a wonder means you're something that's God made that's not typical. You're extraordinary. So to be the AceWonda, you have to be very extraordinary. Number one, what is the most extraordinary thing in a wonderful world?
Love. I mean, God and love. But I'm gonna just, love came to me first, so I'm gonna go with love. I think that's the highest frequency and one of the strongest driving forces. You know,
It's the number one attacked commodity of the Black community. Now, the more we love ourselves, the more angrier the world gets. That doesn't get us. And
how about that?
And it's the number one thing that makes our creativity God sent. That when you love what you do, you become musical. When you do it just for a bag, you become a sound. And sounds can be lost in a myriad of thoughts, but music sets the stage for thoughts to create experiences.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all like what y'all hear, make sure you hit the like button, comment, share the video. You can donate the $ cash at, our cash at Heritage Hip Hop. But if you ask a question, your questions will appear on the screen if you join us on YouTube. So Facebook, salute. Instagram, salute. Join us on YouTube and join the party as we get, more intimate in this conversation of the album, What a Wonderful World by AceWonda. And we're going to go into the album sequencing just right now. So the first track on What a Wonderful World is Perspective 1, Family Ties. I want to ask you something because family ties is very deep. Now that you said love is the most wonderful thing in a wonderful world. How important is the baby's voice on the intro? And does it match the purpose of the project or the vision of the project long term?
Both. So to start the project, who you hear is actually my 7-year-old. Her name is Davis. And how I kind of crafted it was I knew I wanted certain songs to go in a certain order, but I had no idea. To give the people some background, I asked 3 of my daughters what A Wonderful World means to them. And they answered in their own perspective, of what it was. And the intro starts with Davis speaking on, family and love and happiness. And she says, God. And it was so strong. I just, I led with that. And then it goes right into the first song, which is Protected. And I can get into that song. But as far as the purpose and the vision, that kind of sums it up right there. It was family. I had all my family except you hear the baby, you hear her on one of the other interludes in the background. The only one that wasn't present was my very oldest. She's been away at college and everything, so she wasn't there. But besides that, even had my wife on one of the interludes. So um, that summed up the purpose. That's my wonderful world. That's what it means to me. It's love, it's family, and it also coincided with the vision because I summed it up with having everyone a part of this, and it made it feel whole, for me to incorporate them, their energy, their mindset. I thought it was really cool to see where they are, the different ages, and what they actually shared their vision of What a Wonderful World. So I have to just say both. It serves as the purpose and the vision all in one.
I think when it comes to a man's world, there's three things you don't touch. You don't touch a man's God, you don't touch his family, and you don't touch his money. And part of what makes this thing work to me is the incorporation of the content with your character. Like I love albums that have continuity. Like I like Life After Death is continuous. You know what I'm saying? Supreme Class 1. It has a continuity thing that makes it a concept album. And the concept of What a Wonderful World, starting with your family, not only shows your family is your world, but you're showing them to your fans or your followers or your listeners that you can enjoy the rhymes, but get to know me by what I love as well. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah, man, it's kind of showing vulnerability because I've even had thoughts of, kind of being protective of my kids and keeping them away. And when I mean away, like away from the spotlight or on Front Street to where listeners or viewers can even hear them and get any type of opinion to be formulated about them. But I thought it was more important for me to just kind of stay true to who I am and, showcase the love that I have for them. And I enjoy they know how I love music and are always seeing me down in the studio anyway. I thought it would be, perfect for them to just be a part of it. And you said one thing, the continuity. When I was talking with my boy too, the producer, I was thinking of an actual glue to have everything be cohesive. And I don't know at what point, it was somewhere right before we finished, I think maybe the last couple tracks, I had these interludes, I recorded them because I had the thought, but I just ain't executed yet. So when I recorded them, I knew right there, I can take these pieces of them speaking and then sprinkle it throughout the album. And that's the glue. That's the continuity. That's the cohesion, the cohesiveness that would be needed to tie these songs. And it just so happened to be, I mean, like I couldn't make it better to where their perspectives were different to where they matched songs that I actually had recorded. It's not like I heard what they said and went and recorded tracks to try to match the interludes. It was just like, boom, Davis said this and Sophia said this. So I play songs immediately after to reinforce what they said as their perspective of a wonderful world. It just worked. Like, it was just, hey, God's plan. But that's the continuity. It was a plan that happened to work out and it added cohesiveness that I think I couldn't have done it better myself.
Shout out to Drums Rugged. Peace to you both. Yeah, this is a very enjoyable album. Ace knows how I feel about it. One of the best ones yet.
So absolutely. Thank you, Drums. That's my brother.
Salute to that. So let's go into the album first and foremost. Protected is the second song. And now when you talk about what you're sharing and being vulnerable, being protected of what you love and being protected of your image, thoughts, spirit, and awareness is key too. Tell me about the song Protective and what was the message you wanted the world to get from the running fades lines to also giving people what it is to understand who you are in the second verse?
Oh man, to open it up, what I say, everybody talking about running fades. And that's, just the wild social media stuff. Everyone talking about trying to square up and, throw hands and being violent and everything. And whether it's self-defense or you just, bullying somebody, I'm just not on that, But I said, I'm not afraid of the running thing. You could catch me running up a check or on a treadmill. Like I'm about, getting some paper or trying to, build up my physical. And that's how I'm moving these days, learning and observing. So that's how after the interlude, that's the first, I guess, musical song on it. And that's just how I came in. And the song is really about, you got one life to live, like don't neglect it. That's what I'm saying in the hook. Protect it. You're blessed with this one life, don't neglect it. And again, it's just kind of giving thanks, being appreciative, saying and thankful, but also recognizing like what's in front of you, that's really it. I'm just reinforcing that whole mantra of, look at what you have in front of you and protect it. But at the same time, protect what you have, but also understand that you're protected, like God is protecting us. So it's kind of a double entendre there where you can kind of look at it from both perspectives.
I love this song because it made me think.
Thank you.
Not just about the beats, not about the rhymes, but it made me, I want to ask you a question. Shout out to my questions because they always come up when quality music is made, yo. So I want to ask you a question. What is the value of life versus the life of value?
The value of life versus the life of value. Well, the value of life is purpose. It's finding your way. I think it's trying to leave some type of impact and better the world, not only for yourself, but for the human population. I think we're here to, try to improve the world. So life is priceless, especially if you know how to utilize it. And, you're not being wasteful and you're being productive. The life of value is subjective of what you consider value. So that's a good question. The life of value, I would think, is more of just putting your action to words and adding value. You add life into different things, whether it be service or good deeds or whatever it is, but you add value. The life is what you pour into something to make it more valuable.
See, I love that answer because the value of life is a personal decision and the life of value is a personal goal. So depending on how a person sees themselves or their most valued possessions, which is either your life, being your health, or your mental health, could establish what you value in your life. That's not the value of life, that's the life of value. And the life of value is part of your identity, don't you agree?
Yeah.
So when we go to the next song, God Bless Black America, I told you about this one. I was like, ooh, this might be my favorite track on the album. And it's not actually. You did something even more incredible on this. And it can't, you started off with the person you called the emperor, the president. Shut up. And you said, and it started with, this nation will never be woke again. What did that intro mean to you, and how did it lead into the song?
I don't know if you saw his what is it, like the letter, the address to the nation, or I don't know the political term or whatever it's called, but every president does it. I think it happened earlier this year. But
The State of the Union.
State of the Union, okay, right, the address to the union. So I know I'm listening to it. I ain't gonna say I was 100% in. Wherever I was at with it, I'm sitting there, it's on TV, I'm trying to focus on stuff going on. When he said our nation will be woke no longer, that right, like I stopped everything I did and I looked at my wife. I said, what'd he say? Because that's a term, especially with that, our community, that's used heavily, as far as being awareness and, a sense of awareness and being sharp and, just being active, but, mentally aware of where we're at. And when he said that, I felt like that was wow. I'm not here to talk politics, but that was wow. And for the people that know, I think that you could look at that as a jab, or that was a powerful statement to a certain demographic, I feel, and so that that spearheaded me into just speaking on a lot of things. How um, she was the one that was listening to the album, and she said, "You need a song called God Bless Black America." And I looked at her. I'm like, she don't normally just tell me what type of songs I need on my projects or anything, but she's listening to it, but she knows the title, she knows the theme of it. And she's super intelligent, and I can always lean on her, and I bounce ideas off her often. And she said that, and I said, for real? She said, yeah. And so we started on this kind of together, and I went to go with it.
Okay.
With the president making these changes, he was uprooting a lot of stuff going on with my career and my job. So I was in a pool of people that was feeling a lot of the shifts that he was doing with a lot of job situations with people. And so that's where the passion came from. I'm speaking on it from that perspective. And it's just he as that's why I say you got the richest man in your pocket. I was talking about Elon Musk, because he was using him as a tool to, saying, handle some of his dirty work before they split. That was his right hand man. And so you listen to the tracks. I mean, to that specific track, you kind of get an understanding of where I'm at. It's like you got us in a puzzle we don't necessarily fit in.
This song made me think about some old school hip hop.
Talk about
I don't want a God that blesses America. That was KRS-One on Return of the Boom Bap. And a song that stands for the blessing of Black America stands through political lies, racism, and propaganda. Is social commentary needed to return to hip hop in today's day and age to you?
Yeah, to the root. That's what part of hip hop was based on. Yeah, so absolutely. I think hip hop's deeply rooted in, providing a message and educating and informing the people and the public, especially our people, who are the creators of hip hop. And so I think it's been diluted. We've kind of swayed away from more, I would say, educational and informational type of music, because it doesn't have to be overly done. It doesn't have to be super conscious. But yeah, if you look at the paradigm, the shift in hip hop, you can see where it started off to where it is now. If it's really like a super subgenre of hip hop. So yeah, I think it's definitely needed. And I think that aspect should definitely be increased.
How does knowing this help you create your wonderful world?
I'm
Okay, we're getting there. We in thought.
with my experience, I can only speak for myself. And I think about artists that talk about, society and the truth, that help another person get through things. So I'm just informing someone that's, like myself, that may be looking at the news or looking at their kids growing up, or, looking at society, how crazy it is, and just sharing my perspective, wondering if someone out there is feeling like how I'm feeling. Because if you are, then it resonates. It's connected. And so that's where a lot of the people that give me feedback, they say, you really spoke on it, because they feel the same way. And so, I just try to stay true to myself, but I try to give a little dopeness and fly talk within trying to give a message as well, by making it sound dope, but actually thinking that somebody can actually learn something and take something away from the song they just heard from.
So I want to ask you a final question on this song, because I really want people to go listen to the album "What a Wonderful World" by AceWonda and this song "God Bless Black America," which you should put out there on a political level, though, so people could play this song on different shows and things. It's a great song. You talked about fatherhood in this song, and fatherhood in a world of hatred must be scary. Because it is to me. I want to know what you feel about it being a father of young women in an age where not only the young men are being attacked viciously, but now we see more women, especially young Black girls, being murdered or found or left for dead. Or now we have so many movements on social media about Sigma men and alpha males and simps, where it seems like the love we have for each other is so attacked that people that look like us take their pain to social media, and people think that pain is reality. What does that do to you, or what does it mean to you as a father raising women up in a world that has all this in it, and you're still doing your best to give your family the best that you can?
That's a good question. And that can be answered in so many parts. I'll start by saying I'm still trying to learn every day, meaning by me learning more about how to be a better father and inform them of the world, I can only, one, do the best I can, but also understand that it's a fragile thing, because I have all daughters also, and they're staggered in their ages. I got one that's 16 months, and then I have one that's already in college, that's 19. I got so I say that to say it's a different intensity level that I speak to them at. But what I try to do is now I try to be as upfront with them as early as I can. Um, it's very scary because I personally know so many people, females, that have endured a lot of pain, that they keep with them and they don't necessarily disclose. It's a lot of incidents and experiences that they go through that they just hold. They hold that and they tuck. And so I try to be very forthcoming and be stern, but let them know that they need to be expressive and communicative with me when it comes to tough things, and that they can speak with me, because they're always going to also gravitate towards their mother with certain things. But with it being such sometimes it's a cold world, I try to express to them that, for one, I'm always going to be able to be there for them, lend my ear to them. And it's really pouring love into them. I've realized that the more you just love on your children, especially these girls, and they'll really just want to reciprocate that love. It's like you get what you give, and so they'll be able to pour it back and also be a little bit more forthcoming. I heard one time Will Smith said before that he had actually uh, became a better father with each kid. Like, his first kid didn't really get the best of him. And I understand that, because it's like anything you do, you may not be the best at your first job or your first this, but as you go through it in a cycle, you become more conditioned. This wheels start kind of turning by themselves. And so I understand the hiccups and things I've made with my oldest, and I just try to not only learn from outside resources, but learn from the mistakes I've made internally from within my own house. And so I try to protect them, the best that I can, just by being open and honest, and also exposing them to things. I don't keep them closed in, like having them travel. having them see how it is over here on this side of town. Let's go over to, your cousins over here and get them exposed to that. I think it's more about knowledge of the world, as well as you got your school book education, but the knowledge is power. And so exposing them to as many different resources and things that they can understand. And even if you don't understand it, but you are exposed to it and you get a chance to witness some things that are outside your bubble, you realize the world is just bigger than not only this house, but then your town and then this state. So you just kind of broaden their horizons. I don't know if that answered your question, but it's kind of tough when you bring up the kids because as a father, especially with daughters, you got a sense of worry, but you can only do the best you can and take that leap of faith to where you're doing the best you can, to where you push them out there, they're just going to be great. So,
No, I respect that because the studies have found that Black men are more integral in their children's lives than any other culture. And for us to always have songs where people are downing girls, it's good to see, or downing women, it's good to see a flip side to it where someone's coming up and raising his daughters up with him. I just want to say this. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let the media or the falsehoods of us dictate who we are to you. You know who you are, and you know what's in your heart, and don't let the internet fool you. And now, in Florida, there was a second case of a child being found in a school, an 8-year-old. One was by 13-year-olds, and this one was a 4th grader, I think, another or something. We're having children being attacked.
In the school?
In the schools, young children, like elementary schools, of hanging kids in the bathrooms and stuff. And I just want to say, this song was beautiful to me because we always hear about the man's fight against the world, but we never truly hear about the father's fight against the world for his family. So I salute you on that. And
thank you.
I salute all the men out there that give a damn about their families, because there's many of us out there, and salute to us. Because hip hop don't have a lot of Father's Day songs. Maybe that'll change because of songs like this. I want to put 2 songs together. Divine. No. Let's not skip. Let's go to Motion. Motion is about the grind, right? Old you versus the new you, the old man versus the new man. And I want to know, how do you compare the grind from the old you perspective to the new you perspective? Because you use school as a example, and it was school grinding going into goal grinding, the similarities of it. So how does the old you grind, and how does the grind of the old you make the new you better and introduces you to the elevated part of the grind?
It's all about ambition. So the old me was definitely more aggressive and fast paced, and I wanted the top spot, and that was in anything that I actually decided to commit myself to. So the old me was definitely more, I don't want to say competitive, but I would say definitely more competitive with outside people, with others. The new me, or the older me right now, I'm more competitive with myself. Trying to, outdo, like I said once, I'm trying to outdo yesterday's version of myself and just better myself every day. So Motion is just talking about, the first verse is exactly talking about school, how, I was running around and I was, doing things in school that wasn't necessarily the best choices, but I was just trying to get to it. I'm in school trying to get a degree, but also I'm trying to get to the money. I was trying to get to the money almost more than I was trying to get to the degree, to where I look around, ain't none of my buddies even in school with me. I'm almost not about to get this degree. I had to switch it up. I had to pivot and really buckle down and hunker down. But I kind of have an extremist mentality. It's no kind about it. I definitely do. So when I lock in and get tunnel vision, I kind of go all the way. Moderation don't really sit well with me. So when I started to fall back on that, I went hard into the books. And that's when I said, Dean's List till graduation, let that boy cook. You know what I'm saying? Because I was able to actually put it into high gear and make sure that I was able to achieve that degree. And then different parts, of that track, I'm actually talking about getting to the money, but it's really all about ambition. If you have that hustler's mentality, it don't matter what you hustle. Some people, they hustle real estate. Some people, they on the streets, they hustling this. Some people hustle that. But the one thing is that you want to try to be at the top of your game, and you want to wake up and try to be the best at it that you can. And so, hustling can be a legal standpoint, or it can be a legal standpoint. But the thing is that you're out there trying to really just get to it. You're trying to be a top-notch person and competitor in your sport. And so it all stems from also sports as well. And today the hustle is just one, trying to make sure that I'm the best person that I can be for my family. And that's just with providing protection, guidance, making sure I'm on point in my career, keeping a roof over their head and, clothes on their back and food on the table. As my father, and my parents used to say, that's still the goal. Without that, it's like, what do you have? If my family are lacking, I'm somewhere not doing my job, so I got to hustle. Years back, I was hustling jobs. I was grinding, doing things, and I was still being able to have a career, and I was picking up other jobs. At that time, in my eyes, I was hustling jobs, because I had a mind plan, or a goal, I should say, mind state, to where I was going to achieve a certain amount of money stacked away in a certain amount of time. And that was going to be by any means necessary. But that was the hustler in me, because I think a lot of hustlers, they go up and down. And so you can know when you up 1 year or you up 6 months ago, then all of a sudden, whatever happens with the money, you fumble it, life happens, curveballs, something happens, but then all of a sudden your back's against the wall and you got to scratch. Me hustling, I've never hustled like it is when I know I have a new child come into the world. Like anytime my wife, we found out we were pregnant, that hustle goes somewhere scary. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes next level. Like, okay, I got to reevaluate. Let's see where we at. I'm making assessments quarterly, every 3 months. I check out where things are at. But then knowing in 9 months, there's going to be another mouth to feed. That's a motivation that's like none other for me personally. There is no other motivation that's higher than that. So that's when that hustler from whatever I've seen and done transcends to where I'm at right now. Now you just got to kick it into gear and implement it into what I got going on now, but you just got to hustle smarter.
And that is very purposeful, because that actually takes us into the divine light. Because the divine light is your connection with creativity. And what's the highest form of art than to create life? We give music a life, and music gives life purpose. But then when you make a life, God comes into the conversation. I want to put the next two tracks together. Divine Light is a perspective. One of your daughters talked about God making life wonderful. And then What a Wonderful World, the song is very reflective, and you talk about the Most High and the power. But then there was a certain part of the song that really stood to me, and it said to me, man's purpose versus his destiny. How do you define that, and what did this song mean to you?
Well, I would think anyone would hope that their purpose aligns with their destiny. I don't know if everyone will know what their destiny is or what their purpose is, but what better way to know or find out that, what you determined was your purpose actually happened to probably be your destiny. It's like a perfect marriage. So with that song, my daughter Sophia, she kind of had me just stuck in my words, because she had a one-word answer. She just said God. when I asked, "What's a wonderful world to you?" She just said God, and it was really nothing else after that. And I said, I like it. Like you can't beat that. You can't beat that. And so the title track, "What a Wonderful World," is the name of the album. I put that immediately after because the hook is saying, the man upstairs keeps on blessing me. The man upstairs keeps on blessing me. What a wonderful world. And that's what I was thinking, like, through all the hard times, he keeps coming through. You know what I'm saying? Like every time you get thrown a curveball, you get knocked down, you get back up, but he's helping me keep coming through. And it was really just kind of like a praise song, just like I want to fulfill my purpose and my destiny. Like, let me figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Guide me and teach me to figure it out. If they are the same thing, I used to kind of, I don't want to say knock the phrase when everyone was saying, do it with purpose, do it with purpose. It's just that at one point when I found that term being used everywhere, it was kind of thrown around, I felt like some people were just kind of using it as a trend. It just kept saying, everyone just kept throwing, oh, well, do this with purpose, well, have fun on purpose, or, do it on purpose. And I felt like it was kind of uh diluting the value of that, And so I be in different conversations, and I like how a lot of people say, well, put it with intention, because at the same time it's similar, but it also adds a different perspective with it. And so with you saying, like, if your purpose is your destiny, actually it's nothing better else to align that, because then what you're doing, your action and your lifestyle actually is what you were here to do. What you were meant to do, I should say, in the higher scheme of things. So that's what the song is really based on. I'm talking about won't Jesus do it? You know what I'm saying? And part of it is just saying, like, sometimes you have no control what your destiny is. They say it was written. But sometimes I don't think everyone really knows what their purpose is. So it's about kind of the road to trying to figure it out. And you're kind of asking to, like, fulfill it, teach me, let me figure it out. And hopefully that will be my destiny, because people want to actually be able to go through life and not only fulfill their purpose or destiny, but figure it out. That's the main thing, trying to utilize it, for what he's put us here for.
It's funny to me because a man's destiny, his only destiny is to die. His purpose is how his life is lived before he dies. So
You think so?
That's what I truly believe. Yeah,
His only destiny?
Yep.
Or his final destination?
Same
is
thing.
Death, of course.
That same thing to me, because you're destined in both. So that's how I feel. That's just me. But destiny and purpose they're fine line. Don't you agree? Like, yeah. It's very close. And
that's what I said. You hope they align. That fine line. You hope they align.
Yeah, and that goes to the next song, actually, the Equinox. The Equinox is very interesting to me. Who was the person who was doing the spoken word in the beginning? Talk about that.
Yeah, so the Equinox is a track where we just kind of just go in. As a boxer would say, the last round, last minute, you just kind of let your hands go. Mm-hmm. That's my brother, Most Real, another dope artist who is from New Jersey, Atlantic City, New Jersey, who's out here in Maryland. Jersey transplant through Maryland, just like myself. Met him over 10, probably 12 years ago. Super dope artist. We do music together. Him, myself, and my other boy, Hydro Trust, the three of us make a group called Pressure Tank. And he has some of the most profound words, sayings, perspectives. And I could kind of let him speak, and he could probably do an intro or outro for every album I have. Like, he really has some profound perspectives, and just if you listen to him talk, that's just really how he speaks. Like, he lays it down and he talks really strong. really direct and powerful. And I finally got him in the spotlight. I was like, he was just over there. I don't know if he came over to. I don't think he really initially came over to record, but you know, I knew I was actually doing the album, and I said, I got you here right now. Matter of fact, it wasn't like me and him was doing a track. I said, I just turned the mic on. The mic was hot. I said, yo, just get up there and talk that talk. And that's what you heard. It wasn't like no rehearsed thing. The mic was on, one take through, and he just says things. He could be like a motivational speaker. He's very influential and inspirational, and he's my big bro. You know what I'm saying? I take advice from him. He's a person that is a great brother to me, and a great friend, and that's who he is. So when you hear him talking, he's really speaking from the heart on, you know, how he feels and where he's at. Like you said, he said, what is it, May? June, he said, I told my brother summer's canceled, you know, because I ain't really been catching up with him because he's been on super grind. And I mean super grind, like he's been off the radar, off the grid, like just grinding for him and his. So everything you heard him say is exactly where he's at in real time, right then and there. Like it's very powerful, and it means a lot to me because that's my boy, and I know how hard he's working. You know.
I respect that because it was like a boxing thing, like you said. You had the spoken word, which is the jewels, and then you have the confession, which is the rhyme. And if you look at what an equinox is, an equinox is where the night and day, the purpose and the point actually meet. It's duality. Yeah, it's balance. It's duality at its best point. It's the strong versus the weak, the dreams versus the reality, and the goals versus the dreams as well. And when you rhyme, you perfectly sum up the intro, because while he's talking about the purpose, you rhyme about the point. What is the point of purpose, and why do so many people miss the point of a purpose, in your opinion?
Being indirect, people need to be more direct. Stop sugarcoating things. Get straight to the point. Move it a straight line. Like they say, the shortest point from A to B is straight. You know, stop dancing around things. You want to get to the purpose. I know dealing with people, watch other people deal with people. They get frustrated when you know somebody is beating around the bush, or they want to ask you something and they just, you know, it's like they coming from a different angle. Like, don't angle me, just come direct with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what they want to ask you, just ask the question, just say it. Or they want to do something, don't ask me how I feel about this, or what. Just tell me if that's what you want to do. Just say that's what you want to do. But I think it's the lack of directness, people being indirect, and that's kind of like where I was at with it. Like he said what he said on the track in a kind of talking spoken word, because he started off kind of rhythmic, and then he kind of just got into his piece where he was just talking his talk, and that was when I came in with the rhymes. I'm just kicking my stuff, like it was just, you know, let me separate myself from the others. That's how I just had to let people know in perspective, like this album has a lot of I think very well structured songs on a mature level, but then my bar game is nice. So if you forgot, let me just leave this piece right here. That's what Equinox actually is a representation. Like, don't get it twisted. When it comes to just laying these bars down, let me talk to you, because I can do that also. You know, it's no hook on this. It's these are bars, and these are bars, like I said, with purpose, and they're at face value. You ain't gotta try to, you know what I'm saying, read between the lines. There's no gray area. Like, these are bars, and they're high caliber bars. So come get them.
I like that. Now we're gonna go into my favorite song on the project, "The Beautiful Struggle."
Oh yeah.
Oh, by far, this is the one
Oh,
for,
I love it.
because the beautiful struggle to me is the test versus the testimony. This was the
Mm.
one that was called. It was a callback to like church and the soul. You got the organ, you got the message of the rhyme, you got the woman singing. It's like the old man in you versus the new man you've become. It's all about the true you. Tell me about the beautiful struggle. And you kind of pointed your finger at the organ and the feeling of the soul. I said, what does this song mean to you? And is this a testimony song for you?
Yeah. I think it's a testimony song for everyone, right? So it's really a song about adversity. Um, Working your way up from, I'm not gonna say nothing, but let's just say being the lowest person on the totem pole. You want to fight for acknowledgement. You want to fight for recognition. You want to add value, to your family, to your team. And that's kind of where the hook comes in. So always pick last for the team, but you got to earn their vote. It's like, what a beautiful struggle. It's about the process. It's about the journey to becoming greater. And so it's really, like I said, it's about adversity. It's about becoming great. You said you started off talking about great to excellent. That's a beautiful struggle. What I'm saying? Like, that's a wonderful world all in one, but that's the testimony. The song has the intro from Mike Tyson talking about, without no test, there's no testimony. We go through these things and these experiences so we can have a story to leave behind. And that's what people gravitate to so many times. It's the story. Can they connect to the story? Who are you? What are you going through? Tell me about yourself. They want to know your beautiful struggle. People fall in love with the beautiful struggle. And so I paint the picture of that beautiful struggle,
Yeah,
That's
you did.
just,
No, you did. You did perfectly. Because Mike Tyson is he's the perfect person for that type of message. Everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face.
yeah, I got that shirt.
Yeah, or Mike. Yes, Mike, what would you tell your younger self as an older man about life? Or there's going to be some pain. And pain is the struggle, because a lot of us punk out when it comes to pain. I don't want to feel pain, no one wants to feel pain. But even as a parent, you have to let your children feel pain to appreciate who they are, where they're from, where they came from, and to understand there's places in life you don't want to go to. And you have to hurt to understand that. You have to get your heart broken to find true love. You have to be broke and have nothing to appreciate something when you have it. You have to. There's no other way against it. You have to lose in order to become a winner, and a gracious winner at that. Not just somebody who just beats, and then you look at people like, I'm better than you. Like, you have to go through that struggle. Yeah, you have to go through that struggle to appreciate a win and even congratulate yourself or some other person in a loss. Because it's a competitor's game, not a combative game. You see what I'm saying? So
I say it all the time. Some people gotta get burnt to realize they're playing with fire. It's the same thing. Yeah.
So let's take a break. How you liking this interview so far? How we doing?
Oh man, doing great, doing great. I'm loving the questions and perspectives that you're throwing at me. You making me really reflect on some things. So, and to hear you say beautiful struggle, man, that's I think I've had a few people tell me that, but you definitely always pick some unique tracks that don't just stand out as, say the rest of the consensus is like, okay, these three are probably, let's say, 80% favorite. You always hit me with one. And I love Beautiful Struggle. That's the thing. I love Beautiful Struggle. But the fact that you picked out the organs and things, yeah, it gives you that type of soulful feeling. So you right there on point.
And that's what we doing, Heritage Hip Hop. But right now, I just wanted to take a break because I wanted to get a little lighthearted because we went a little heavy. The next part of the album is very lighthearted. Let's talk about Earth Whisper. Tell me about that.
You are talking about the interlude.
Yes.
Yeah. That's my daughter Ryan. She's 11 years old now. That's my nature girl. She is one with nature. So I named it Earth's Whisper because so people understand, when she was asked about what is your take or what do you think is a wonderful world, she mentioned what she said, family, friends, and then she said like nature. She said like the trees and the bugs. And you hear my wife and mouth say bugs, and it tripped me out too because I didn't even hear I said. What she said? She said bugs, and then she said, like honey, like the bees give honey, and like the earth, provides us with food and everything. Like it gives to us, and I mean, she's so thoughtful. And she just yesterday was just pointing out a tree, and she likes to stare at different flowers and stuff. Like she just really gravitates towards nature. So that's where the Earth's Whisperer title comes from for that segment of that interlude. And yeah, that's my heart right there.
I want to flip it to show the duality of life. Nature is the most violent part of life. You ever notice that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we get the privilege of getting up, going to work, or going to school and complaining we don't have time. Where in nature, everything lives on borrowed time because they never know when they're going to get eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Never know what day could be their last. But they always live their life purposeful to the very end. That's why the Bible says, study the ant and look at how they work together for a common cause. And that cause is survival.
Mm.
Though that interlude to me was beautiful because as God tells us to study nature, and your daughter is so tuned into food and honey, we don't really understand the process of what those things are. And when we do understand it, we appreciate life for its natural state. But because of the hatred in the world, like in God Bless America you talked about, we have an unnatural state of life. The natural versus the unnatural or unnatural part of life permeates in hip hop as well. What is the nature of hip hop to you? How do we combat the unnatural part of hip hop?
Nature or natural part of hip hop. I just think competition. That's the first thing that just came to my mind. Like hip hop is very super competitive. You just want to try to be the best or show that you deserve a spot at the table. That's where it stemmed from. You want to showcase your skills and show that you were dope at it is what you do. And that's what everything. So if you talk about hip hop and the four elements, we talking about rap, was it graffiti, beatboxing, breakdancing, and what DJing. Yeah, so you talk about the four elements and the competitiveness within that, from your dance crews, the break dancers, your hip hop, with your MCs, your lyricists, the graffiti artists, bombing and everything. But that's the natural element of hip hop. It's one, represent, represent who you are, represent your whether it goes to your street, your block, then it's your neighborhood, your city, your town, your state, your coast. But it's one, representing who you are, showcasing your skills, and having fun. That's what I'm saying, like having fun. Hopefully you learn something along the way, but that's partly for one of the main things. I do it naturally. If I'm not having fun, I really don't want to mess with it. That's where I'm at in my life today. Like I do this because I have fun doing it. I have the opportunity to be able to do it in my spare time, and when I do, I want to do it and have fun, because if it's not fun, I'm not messing around with it. The unnatural part of hip hop, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Unnatural. Unnatural to me is something forced. That's not organic. So anyone trying to be someone they're not, doing things for the wrong reason, I think it's something that if you are doing something and pursuing something that goes against who you are, in your heart and your core, that's something unnatural. It's something forced, but it's forceful in the wrong direction. So that's what I would say is unnatural in hip hop. And that you can blanket that over anything, but anything that is forced or going against who you are, your core beliefs, or what you feel in your heart, when it comes within the realm of hip hop, that's unnatural to me.
Drums Rugged said beatboxing is the fifth element that gets left out often. Yeah, because beatboxing
That's it.
is
Okay.
production.
I said beatboxing first. Yeah.
But I'll take part of your answer for natural as unnatural. Because you forgot the one thing that's important that made hip hop what hip hop is. Competition is not natural, but peace is. Peace, love, unity, and safely having fun. And the peace leads us to the next song, which is Smile, the power of positivity. And my question is hip hop positive enough? Because if we're not at peace, how can we get positivity? What do you think?
I don't know if I'm the one to answer that. Is hip hop positive enough? These open-ended questions. These are, ain't no right ain't no right answer for these. You try to trip a brother up. I tell you this though. For one, you already know that subject. That depends on who. For me, speaking for myself, is hip hop positive enough? Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you, I say that because I know the artists or the sources of music or hip hop I can listen to get that positivity from. Like I don't have to be force fed. Let's just say some violent music. Whether anyone want to, I don't want to name a certain subgenre of hip hop and say violent, but people know what's up. So I don't have to be force fed that because I know different platforms. I know different resources that I can listen to music when I want something lighthearted, something peaceful. There's enough of that in my pot, you know what I'm saying, that I can actually consume and feed from. People that are only able to listen to music, let's just say on the radio, or they only have one source of truth for their hip hop, and they only, let's say, listen to a couple channels or stations, I should say, that give some music that they don't deem as peaceful, they're going to say no, But luckily, I'm able to go to, like I said, an area of a streaming platform or playlist, or over here in a personal database or whatever, that I can get that peaceful music. So yeah, hip hop is peaceful enough for me.
I'll rock with it because people will always compare today's hip hop, which is open-ended, playlisted, and digital, to when hip hop was programmed. And in the program, there was positive music put there to give it balance. So that's a very interesting statement. Plus, I go to Mace. Shout out to Mace, who said, when everybody asked him about smiling, he said P. Diddy made him pretty. That he gully. You know what I'm saying? People got on Jadakiss. People got on Jadakiss for smiling, and he's one of the most respected, as in top 5, dead or alive. And part of that piece and the nature of hip hop, you said competitiveness. And I don't think that's part of the nature. I think that's the byproduct of a lot of it. But the nature or the natural part of it is having a crew. Viking, tell me about that song and tell me about the crew.
Viking is a tribute to someone close to me that had passed away just a few months ago. And so it's not necessarily a crew involved in Viking. Viking is one man who is named Gregory Crawford, who was a dear friend of mine, and I guess like a stepfather-in-law. Very, very great man. And he had been battling cancer for many years. And so that was spawned from a phone call that I had placed, just calling, just to see how he was. And then he had been kind of like, his health was deteriorating over the last few years. But one of the last times I actually spoke to him, I realized he wasn't really able to decipher like who I was without his wife, which is my mother-in-law, next to him telling him, it's such and such on the phone. And so I hung up, and that's what I said right there. Like, man, I feel like crying. You know what I'm saying? Like I almost lost it. Like, because I realized like how the gravity of the situation, and anyone that's been through a situation that's deep like that, it hits home to where you see someone in great health and then you see the decline over a period of time. Um, Music is therapeutic to me, and that was my outlet, man. I just thought about it and I started making some notes. And next thing you know, I was just writing a verse, and it wasn't nothing traditional. It wasn't like a full song. Viking is really just a tribute of me, just kind of like dedicating my thoughts to him and kind of just like a ode, saying, paying homage to who he was and his greatness. I don't even know how many bars it was, but I talk about some highlights and, some events that he left an imprint on my heart, my whole family, my daughters, that was their granddad. And so it's a tribute to him, and just speaking and laughing. He was funny as ever. I tell you, he was a cool cat. He always had some knowledge. He would leave you. He always had the funniest sayings, but uh, he used to always just say, he's a Viking, not a Viking, and it was just something, like that was just funny within the family, And I used to just, always shout like Viking, and that was the song to him, man. Rest in peace, my boy Gregory. And yeah, not necessarily no team, anything around that, but that's a tribute to him.
That's dope, man. I appreciate that because you started naming other names, and I thought it was a crew. And I was going to ask you, what's the importance of having a crew versus having followers? Because it seems like in today, there's so much backstabbing and people not respecting people until they die. In a lot of musical places, like death to me is very hard. Like right now, we've seen, especially since COVID, we've seen so much death that people are immune or don't even mourn anymore.
Yeah,
and I remember,
desensitized.
I'm telling you, man. I remember when my mom was alive, and she talked about how she felt when she lost Marvin Gaye. Then I got to see my mom mourn when my grandmother died. Then I got to mourn when my mom passed away. And just like her big musical thing was Marvin Gaye and then her mother. Mine was Biggie Smalls and then her. And it was like a musical influence could be so much. And then today to see people take the names of people and just throw them out there and disrespect them until they die, or in death, people become greater and we don't appreciate them. It's unnatural. And that's one of the most unnatural things in hip hop. Do you want to say anything towards that, or you want to move forward?
I mean, just to speak to your first question, what's I don't know, the meaning of crew or the value of crew versus followers, you said? And I think crew is family. When people have a crew, especially when you got a crew that's tight as mine, we came up together. I still hang with the same homies that I'm grateful to have, friends that I've known for over 30 years that we still kick it. I see them multiple times throughout the year. They was just at my crib like a couple weekends ago. We make it out to their birthdays, and it's a camaraderie. It's a level of comfort and brotherhood when you shared some of your wins and your losses together. You can't really compare those to followers. Followers are people that, I don't want to say all followers are the same, but it's levels to the relationships. And so the crew is someone that you win together, you lose together. You may actually know their family. You've seen them at their high points and their low points. Y'all gone through stuff. You've grown together. You might have had, small little beefs or disagreements with, but you've grown and got past it. But you know what I'm saying, you've matured, you may have went through puberty or adulthood and became a man together. And so your crew is someone that you can kind of confide in, you respect and you trust their perspective, you can lean on them for advice, or and they can listen to you without being, judgmental. They can come from a neutral standpoint and kind of give you what it is, and they can check you. Somebody might not really be respectful or appreciate some follower trying to check them, but somebody in your crew, you hold them tight. You don't mind them checking you. You know they have your best interests at heart. So they might be giving you some tough love or some constructive criticism, but they're doing it to really try to get you straight. It's time to tighten up. So crew is very important for men, but everyone, even girls got their crew. You know what I'm saying? So crew is something of a tighter bond than I would think just, a follower. Followers can grow into crew, but at some point, they at talking about a follower right now, they're just a follower. Crew comes with growth.
Salute to your understanding, because part of that crew, it means putting you on your shit when you need to be, and
Absolutely.
still at it. The next song seems like you were on your shit. That's some MC shit that you did. East Coast bounce, bars and style. Tell me about Still At It, because it seemed like you were giving people a message, but you didn't want them to forget that you could bar your ass off too. Tell me about Still At It.
Yeah, thank you. So I may have misspoke. I said Equinox is one where I gave him some bars to let you know I get busy lyrically. Still At It's one of them joints too. Except Still At It is I did it in a song structure where you got, saying your verses and you got the hooks. Still At It was the very first song me and Two, who is the producer, our producer named Two, recorded together. And that started off with him I think he just sent me the beat, and I'll say, well, we just put out a single. That's how this whole thing started. We never had no plan on doing no project, no album, never no EP. I told you we had met on Instagram, and crazy story. So backstory, he heard one of my tracks with another producer, Slimline Mother, who we had spoke about on my last album. He liked that track and asked if he could actually remix it. And so I said, well, that's cool with me, but let me get the blessing from Slim. I'm not just going to have him remix the song from, a different producer. Slim Blessing was like, yeah, so go ahead. So we started a relationship from there. And then when he said, he had a track he wanted to throw me, it was Still At It. Still At It, I said, damn, this got a crazy bounce to it, like you said. And I said, well, what you want to do? And I was talking about, like the long-term goal with this, what you want to put out a song. And he was like, yeah. So I said, okay, we could just put out a single. And so Still At It was a song that I had got to. And when you hear the intro of it come in, I said, what up to, yeah, sorry, I had to handle some things on the home front. But yeah, I'm back at it because I was supposed to have done the song a little earlier, but I had some family stuff going on, so we just had to get to it when we got to it. And so that was a real MC track where I just wanted to pay homage to, him being from Michigan, me living out here in Maryland, and just saying the music connects us. And that, saying I get busy. What is it that you look for? And then it was also kind of like an ode to the producer, because I'm telling them, like, is it soul samples? Is it beat production? I'm letting you know, like, listen to what we're giving you. This isn't nothing like I call it no middle of the mall type thing. Like, this is some curated, high quality hip hop. And this is why, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm delivering it at this. You hear his beats, he's delivering it at this type of level. And so it's a good marriage. And then the hook, is talking about, from music from Michigan to Maryland. We're connected through music, connected to music. They used to say hip hop was all a game till they see things change and the music still change. And so it was actually a favorite of so many people that was feeling it, we just kind of drove with that force. And so we decided, let's do a couple more tracks. And you know how it goes. It's like once you start getting in the rhythm, one song leads to 3 songs. The next thing you know, it was like, yo, I think we building on something. Should we do an EP? Then next thing you know, I hear a couple more beats from them and it's a wrap. I'm like, yeah, no, we got an album going. But Still At It was the first one to like just break the mold, break the ice on it. And it was well received. So many people just felt like it was a dope track, a real hip hop, you know what I'm saying, salute track. And it felt good doing it. And it was one of those tracks where it wasn't hard to think. It was really effortless. Like I went in, I recorded it, sent it to him, he was rocking with it. I was like, yo, you think you should keep the talking in the beginning? He was like, nah, I keep all of it. I love it. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, word, I rock with it too. But I wanted his input on it because I'm at a stage where I like getting a lot of the producers' input. I don't just take a beat and just create to it and just be on some bully foot type of like whatever. I don't care about what you say. Like whatever I say goes. You gave me the beat. I got the right to do it. Like I enjoy getting energy and input from the producer. I like us crafting something together that we're both happy with. Give some input from him. You hear my take on it, and we both were happy about it, and the people seemed like they were happy about it. So it was a win-win.
Salute on that. I like MC stuff. You got to rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Heart's Embrace, because that was the next. That's the next interlude. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's wifey. That's my wife asking, me asking her, her perspective on what a wonderful world is. And she just broke it down quite simply, me and her, together forever. And, she said, in our family, our kids, us, building a legacy and an empire together. And I was like, oh, mic drop. You know what I'm saying? Like it was nothing. It's kind of like what my other child, Sophia, said when she said God. It's like, I can't outdo that. Like that's what's up. And so having that lead right into the next song, when she said Together Forever, I already had the song created, but that's why I named the next song Together, because it's the form of, what I'm saying, forever and together. So it was named Together. And yeah, there you have it. It was the little kind of like the love song, as you say.
I respect that because that those two go together again because love stories are essential to hip hop. We always have stuff about I used to love her, the beats, the rhymes, or we have something that's about for the love of money. But we don't have enough songs that go back to the Around the Way Girls or the I Need Loves or the Renees or as rude as it is, me and my bitch. You know what I'm saying? We don't have enough of that, and people forget that sometimes all the time, the most beautiful part of life is having someone you can relate to. There's someone you can protect and someone who protects you. So I want to tell you congratulations, because if you have it, protect it, cherish it, hold on to it. I'm not beat for that it's cheaper to keep her shit. And I'm not beat for that happy wife, happy life shit. I really believe happy spouse, happy house and all that, true. And I also believe that love doesn't have a distinction if you really have it. It's together. It's not a parallel paradigm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I feel you. I want to say thank you because you and I want to say at least a couple handful of brothers actually reached out and told me, thank you for making that track. Like, we need to hear more of that. And I was like taken back because I guess it's not that I didn't think of it, but I guess I wasn't ready for the response that I got from that. And it seemed like it was kind of filling a void that maybe I wasn't aware that was even there. But it was people, telling me like, yo, they say, we ain't really supposed to show that side. And, but I see you and your wife. And, when I come over, you really be living what you saying in the song. That's what one of my other boys said, and I felt them. Matter of fact, Drums Rugged actually mentioned, saying that track as well. And so it makes me feel like at least I'm doing a service or justice in some aspect of the listeners and different people's lives when they connect to a song and feel like, yo, we need more of that. Or, what I'm saying, like, you did your thing on that. Like, folks need to do that more. That's what we do it for, to feel like we are adding value. And so I appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate everyone else that done hit me, whether it was publicly or privately. And, what I'm saying, gave me a salute on that track because, yeah, definitely got a lot of praise for that song.
And it's deserved because once again, love is most important in our community. Shout out to Coach Kandaka, because she's dope. Y'all
Coach is it.
Who really, really gives a damn and can elevate you. Shout out to the coach.
Peace, Coach.
I wanna congratulate you on a great album, but I wanna talk about this last song because this last song was very. I want to say you sneaky as hell for this because the last song is 2 songs in one. It's 8 minutes and 16 seconds long, right? Mm-hmm. But the first part is the setup and the last part is the conclusion. Am I correct or what?
You got it, man. You don't miss. You don't miss.
Talk about it. Move On is the last track of What a Wonderful World by AceWonda, produced by 2. And it's a new album out right now. And I want to know, why set the song and the stage up for the final song like this? What was this about?
Okay, so great question. I guess the execution on this was 2 and I were trying to, for one, think of something unique and something cool and fun that we can add to the album that was different. So I like trying to do different things that I've never done on any projects of mine. And so with that said, that's where you get the hidden track. I never had a hidden track on an album I've done. So I snuck in a track at the end, kind of like as an Easter egg, kind of like for your real hip hop heads. I don't know if anybody, back in the day, remember, like, that used to happen sometimes on different tapes or CDs. You might have a song, an album playing, and you forget it's playing. It's just, and then you go somewhere, you off in the other side of the room, and music come back on. And it's because it was a hidden song that was all the way. They left some space at the end of the song, but it was a hidden song at the very end. That's what it was, man. It was just kind of just a salute to hip hop. Like, yo, it would be dope to kind of sneak one in there. We don't put it on the track list. And for the real fans that's listening, if you really just, saying let it rock out, like you wonder why is it 8 minutes? Something like, let me, maybe skip past, or maybe you listen through the whole thing. You realize, oh, they did. No, they didn't. Like, these dudes really threw another track in there on the low. So that's where that came from. The track starts off with Move On. That's the title track to the last track. And that's you just really realizing you just got to move on from situations. You can't let things harbor or fester. In life, you got to move on. And it's like you realize things for what they are. It's kind of like forgive and forget, or, live and let live kind of thing. But at some point, you can't just, be stuck in the moment. And so Move On was a whole song based on that ideology, that mindset. And to bring it full circle, when I told you I met 2 online, he heard of a song that he really liked and asked if he could remix it. That last song is the remix. He had never did anything. He was still holding on to it. And so he said, yo, what do you think if we throw that track on as the Easter egg, like the hidden track? And I said, yeah, that's crazy. That'd be dope. You know what I'm saying? And so that last track actually is a song originally written called Doubted from EP 2022 on my Sophisticated Syntax EP. He remixed it and threw it under a new beat that he produced. And so that's the last track. We snuck it up in there with some, some background noise of people talking after Move On. And then, like I said, you let it rock out, it drifts into, that song. And that's what I said, when they doubt you, and it goes into that. And yeah, there you have it.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I picked up that you never done before in another album. Cause I was listening, I was like, wait a minute, what is this? But it was genius to have the break. Where were you recording that at? Where was that taken from?
Which part? The inner, like the in between part?
Yes.
That was, oh man, that was, I'm trying to think of, it's a clip. It's a clip that we use for my man. It's something online. That's all. It's something online, but it's a clip that we actually use pieces of it for my boy who I mentioned, Hydro Trust, a piece of his album. And so it's just like some over dinner type of talk, you know what I'm saying? And it's I can't give too much into it, but it's a clip that is done over people talking over dinner. It's a large group.
You know what I like about that though? If you really listen to it, the clip fit the album perfectly because you have two women talking and there's one woman in there congratulating another woman on a realization and a come up. Did you focus on that?
Yeah, you really listen to it. Most people won't really listen to that.
Oh yeah, I listen to everything. I got to get into it to do this off the record. We off the record. We talk about the entire project.
Okay.
And, you know, that was a nice beat. I liked it, and we move on. No, we gonna listen to it. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope. That's dope. But yeah, that's exactly how it came to. I'm glad you listened because a boy of mine, he was like, yo, you kind of got me tight. You had a song that long, but I realized it was 2 tracks. I was like, and this my man, this my heart. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, word. He's like, yeah, but I see what you did right there. He was almost mad like I did. I was like, well, yeah, I was on my hip hop nerd bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it was creative. He was like, yeah, you got that. I don't think he appreciated it like some, but you know what I'm saying? I'm glad you rocked with it. Yeah.
No, but it was dope because it came in the love part of the album. And what's the most appreciative, loving part of life is for somebody to acknowledge your come up. And that's what that young lady did in the clip. She said, oh, great. That's what's like, and she congratulated somebody on their rise. And I thought the last song, when we'll move on, was you looking forward to the new world and not being stagnant in the world you're in. And then the first song set up the move for the second song. And then you end it with, and I say to myself, what a wonderful world. And as the song goes off on a drift of a memory, you appreciate the album because it's light, it's very feel good, and it's summer vibes. And what makes a person smile more than being outside and having the sun on their face? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I appreciate you really listening, man. Listening with a fine ear too. You know.
So let's finish up this interview real good. There is no truth behind whatever or rapid fire questions. Just standing on your square. Why is this album important, and why is this album a must-have for somebody who loves hip hop?
Oh man, it covers so many different aspects of life. It's giving you the grit, like you said, in beautiful struggle, where things aren't always pretty. Sometimes things got to get worse before they get better. We talk about adversity. We talk about appreciation. You talk about, love, and that's in different themes throughout the album. What a Wonderful World is something, the song, on the album, you're looking at being grateful from like the higher power. Then you have Smile, just kind of just being very lighthearted and like a loving track, but Smile for, you know, being appreciative to everything that you see and you have around you and being aware of what you're being blessed with. You got Motion, you know, when you talk about the come up, you know what I'm saying? That's, you know what I'm saying, from making one to two, you know, going from like you said, from great to excellent. Uh Man, you know, it's so many. Then I got Family. It's family oriented. I think it's a great reflection of, if you rock with me and if you've, you know, been a part of my journey, I think you will be able to tell this is a transparent reflection of really who I am at my age today. And I'm speaking on it in real time. Like, this is everything that I'm loving, that I'm embracing, that I'm sharing with the world. You know, showing more visibility. I'm not hiding behind anything. I'm giving you, you know what I'm saying, my family, their perspectives, how they feel. I'm giving you how I feel about what they share. You know, like it's really like the curtain is pulled up, you know, um, and you're gonna learn some things. Like so I talk about God Bless Black America, you know what I'm saying? I speak on it. I speak on it. I'm giving you truths and I'm giving you some reflections that you can actually learn from some things and learn about life. And sounds dope. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting the bars together. The production is crazy. Um, my boy, a producer named Two, he did his thing. Dope beats, dope bars. I think it's a great listen, and it's just hip hop, man, at its purest form. You know.
I want to also give Drums Rugged some love because he had posed a question, and I want to ask this before we got it. He says, "I have a question. When y'all listen to albums, do you listen to enjoy it for what it is, or do you listen to see if it sounds modern or nostalgic?" I want you to answer that question differently because you're creating the album. Do you create an album from a nostalgic standpoint over what music that you loved, or do you create music for the modern sound so people can gravitate to what you have to say?
One more time. So, create music for the modern sound or like the nostalgic aspect.
Yeah, he says when you may listen to an album, do you enjoy it for what it is, or do you listen to see if it sounds modern or nostalgic? So for you, that's different because you're creating the
Yeah,
album. So are you creating it for modern ears, like off of the modern thing, or do you create albums for the nostalgic feel that you have in making new music?
neither. I just create from the heart. It's gonna land where it lands. You don't really know, like, so me personally, speak for myself, I don't go into creating something nostalgic or trying to create something modern. I just create what feels good to me, and the beats and the production kind of guides me in a certain way, and the end result kind of, you lean towards one way or the other. um I don't want to get too technical into the question, but that's how I am as a creator. When I'm listening to music, I just listen, and then I feel like, you know, at the end of it, I'll think like, okay, then I can determine that's modern or that's nostalgic. But creating, I don't go into trying to create a nostalgic album or a modern album. I just create, and wherever we land at the end, that's just, you know, kind of up for the consumer to determine. I just I will say this though. I think you can aim for that based on the beats that you choose and the producer you work with. So you kind of know what you're gonna get if you go with a more modern based producer that does more modern, whatever a person defines as modern too. You know what I'm saying? But if you go into an album with a producer that does more maybe nostalgic, I don't know, 90s, 2000s or whatever, more laid back, you know what I'm saying, boom bap type of sound, you'll probably end up with a more nostalgic album. But I don't do that. I just go and create what feels good to me, what beats I connect to, and then wherever we are at the end, that's where we land, and I leave it up to the listener to determine all that. I just want it to sound dope.
Me, for instance, I don't listen to a album to compare it. I listen to it for what it is. That's why I don't like sequel albums. Because even if you think about Ghostface Killer right now and Supreme Clientele too, I personally love the album, I know it's not Supreme Clientele 1, but if it wasn't called Supreme Clientele 2, it would probably be loved more than what it is now, in my opinion, because you're comparing it, and I don't like that, you know. But see,
That's a great point.
That begs another question then, because this has to be the final question. I gotta get out of here, yo. But talking to you is dope, yo. Hip hop's going through a civil war of ageism, and we have people saying that elder rappers, 40 and up, are rapping better than the younger rappers, but the younger rappers make better songs than the older rappers. What is your take on that when people are saying just because you're older doesn't mean you have to write because your pen ain't correct, and just because you're younger, you don't really have to rap as long as you have good beats? What does that mean to you?
I never heard that one. I heard the first part. I never heard of the younger rappers are making better songs. I think the older rappers are making better music, period. Pen game is sharper and they're actually making better songs. I think it's based on who the consumer is, who's listening, who's saying that they're making the younger rappers are making better songs. I don't know, but it ain't no one that I'm talking to personally, you know, but I'm probably on the spectrum of the older side, you know. But yeah, as far as artists that I can actually think of, I think their music translates better. Older artists, it translates better across. I'm talking about like across different age groups, and it has more longevity or lasting power. I don't know. I look at the older artists, like the music that they made or make, it's more like it's fine cuisine. You know, a lot of the newer rappers, they stuff is cool, but it's microwave, you know, and that's cool too if you want something, but they still got to stand the test of time. Like, it can be hot now, but will it be hot in 10 to 20 years from now? These older rappers, they already proved that. But I think a lot of the older rappers, they still sharp. So I don't know. Now you talking about albums, that's a different topic, but I don't agree that younger rappers are making better songs. That's just my personal opinion.
That's deep. And that's something we'll cover on another show, because I would love AceWonda to come back. Make sure you check out his new album, What a Wonderful World, out right now on streaming platforms. But I ask that you buy the album, because if you buy an album, not only do you own your album, you put yourself in position to give the artists what they need to create more music. Show them love. Music is a commodity. And right now, we're seeing the death of the digital age. Make sure you own your music, because if the internet ever goes down, you don't have your music. Any last words? Give me your social media. Like, tell them what's up. What
man. Look, find me on Instagram. That's the main one that I'm operating on and, you know, shaking and baking on. That's _ AceWonda, spelled ACEWONDA. I got my website, AceWonda.com. Again, www.ACEWONDA.com. And on the website, you cop What a Wonderful World, you get 3 extra bonus tracks. Those are tracks that we didn't talk about. So you're gonna get Yin and Yang, Creative Space, and the Oaks. So it gets even deeper. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So go ahead and, you know, direct to consumer. Go ahead and cop it on the website, and you get them bonus songs, 3 extra bonus songs.
That's what I'm talking about. So remember, when a person makes an album, they put their heart and their soul into it. They put messages in it. And when you come to Heritage Hip Hop or Off the Record, we extract the soul and bring that real hip hop and that real music to you. This is Correct with AceWonda signing off, saying peace.
Peace. Thank you, my brother.
Hey man, it's a pleasure. And we out.
Real hip hop. Real hip hop. We here. Real hip hop. For real.